So we are recording now, but I'm recording from my device. But I just want to let you all know that we are recording and the transcript is running. So all of that is on its way. Thanks for your patience, y'all. Okay, let's get into some body doubling together. So can everyone see my screen? Okay, amazing. Thank you. Okay. All right. So we talked a little bit about the Mentra timeline and what we've got going on with the app. So we are currently building out an experience that we'd love to beta test. So if you're interested in beta testing, drop an emoji in the chat. And then if you could just send along to me your email, and I'll reach out and we can chat a little bit more about that beta test. So we'll be doing that through October, and then towards the end of October, we would hopefully have all of those sort of feedback loops integrated into the app and ready for launch. We're aiming for mid-October, but it really just depends on how those feedback loops go. We're not gonna rush anything, and we care deeply about the quality. So a little bit about me, if this is your first time joining, my name is Steph. I am the community manager and client success manager over here at Mentra, but I also help support you all from a neurodivergent perspective. So I am neurodiverse as well. I'm dyslexic and ADHD, which means I'm autistic and ADHD, and I for the most part, struggle with executive functioning and sensory overload. To get into the content a little bit, and these are some of the accommodations, so I'll just leave this up here. So to get into some of the content that we'll see on the upcoming slides. If you've never attended one of our body doubling sessions, we host this every other week for the most part, and it's just an opportunity for you to carry out maybe some goals or even micro goals, some things you want to get completed that are on your task list. As we go throughout this whole section, I encourage you all to drop in your LinkedIn profile, roles that you're looking for, information about you, like your special interest, your hyperfixation, a passion, just something someone might be able to remember you by as we host these sections so frequently. And your name, of course. I went down that a little out of order, but drop all of this in, y'all, as we go through. And we went through some of this upcoming events that we have going on. So Thursday, October 9th, we have a book reading and Q&A with Michael. So that will be this upcoming Thursday. And then on Tuesday, we have another event about mapping your dream company. So we'll be meeting at the same time at 5 p.m. And then on October, I believe it is at 4:30. But y'all will get a notification after this event over on Luma. So to dive in a little bit on what body doubling is we have a few different options of the way that you could body double. So keeping with the manatee theme of our app that y'all will see once you are in our in-app experience, is one option is to surface. So kind of spending a few minutes slowing down, journaling, maybe logging your progress, logging your wins, things that excite you about what you've got going on or the roles that you applied to. Next we've got swim. So this is really like moving forward, driving forward on a goal that you might have or something that you want to complete. So we have a few prompts for those of you that want to reach out to people on LinkedIn. We have the option of graze, so consuming maybe like one piece of content that inspires you, that makes you feel good about where you're headed or what you're working on. Gather, so you can check in with a friend or mentor, and then rest, so end with something sort of soothing, something that kind of coming back to surface makes you feel a little calm after completing something. Maybe you had a long day. So those are some of our options. Does anyone have any questions about body doubling? This is awesome. Doing a minimum 1 mock interview. Awesome. Okay. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. So let's get into body doubling. I'll leave this screen up here for you all so that you can see what you might be able to do. But we'll take the next 12 minutes and everyone can feel free to go off camera, stay on camera, and mute themselves. And then just work on something that you want to work on. You know, for some people it might be art. For some people it's reaching out to a connect on LinkedIn. If you want to see a prompt of that, feel free to screenshot this page that I have open here. This will be an email that you can send to a recruiter or someone who might be able to help you if you need something to work on. Growing your LinkedIn network never hurts. So that's one option, but I'll leave this screen up. If anyone else needs the prompt, I'm happy to drop it into the chat. But let's go ahead. We'll start with 12 minutes, and I'll check in about 12 minutes, ask you all how it's going. We'll drop what we were able to accomplish in the chat. So just be sure to be thinking about that a little bit as we approach the next 12 minutes. And then I'll see y'all after we're done. The first round. I'll see y'all in 12 minutes. 12-minute timer. All right, everyone. So I know that was just 12 minutes, but if anyone wants to share what they were able to complete or what they worked on, we'll start talking about, we'll start talking about goals shortly. All right. Well, while we wait for those, we can go ahead and get started in some short-term goal setting and just talking about goals generally in ways that will help support your job seeker experience. And what we'll do towards the end of the call with the time that we have left, we can do some more body doubling, but we'll kind of sandwich it with some of the goals because they can help inform some of your body doubling together. So this was another sample. I just wanted to share again with you all for those of you that didn't have the opportunity to take a screenshot. Now you're welcome to. You'll also get the deck sent to you after this call. So if you don't get it now, totally fine. You'll receive it in an email from Luma once we have the download ready for you all. It takes about a week from our call. But this is a prompt that you can use to reach out to LinkedIn recruiters that will help you sort of frame it around your interest in learning more about them and kind of hooking them a little bit, ideally to talk about what your needs might be or what their needs might be. Okay, So we did some body doubling already. Let's dive into goals. So there are a few different types of goals. Today we will be talking about short-term goals, but I just want to give you all a little bit of background on both so that we just are able to differentiate the two. So our first group is our short-term goals. So these are smaller, more immediate steps that move you towards a bigger vision. In a sense, these are essentially specific, achievable. They have shorter timelines, anywhere from days to weeks to a few months, and give you a feeling of quick progress, which for those of y'all that are ADHD, dopamine in a lot of ways for our short-term goals. Long-term goals are your big picture outcomes, so the things you want to achieve over a longer period of time. So this will often be a 6 months to a year or several years, and they're usually broader, more visionary, and your short-term goals kind of act as a roadmap to get you to where you want to go. That's a little bit about our goals. Any questions or any goals that y'all want to drop in to the chat? Not related necessarily to our body doubling, but I'm curious what y'all are working on now that we have this background of short-term and long-term. So the way that we break up our short-term and also our long-term goals is by something called SMART goals. And this is something that if anyone's worked in data analytics or in marketing, they're probably quite familiar with, or you're probably quite familiar with. But SMART goals are specific, it's an acronym, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So you're able to track them in a consistent way, especially if they're longer over time. If they're shorter over time, you're able to track them on more like a day-to-day basis. So I want to share with you all a few things that kind of touch upon short-term goals, but are missing the mark in some ways based on the different acronym breakouts that we have here. So some examples that are almost meeting our SMART goals are to get a savings account. And y'all feel free to drop in the chat what you think that these are missing. Some of them, just quickly, yeah. So the first one is to get a savings account, to meet 20 new people, go to 5 parks, finish a book, apply to 4 jobs, write 10 blogs, reach out to 10 recruiters, or explore 3 new cafes. Does anyone have any ideas on what these might be missing? Okay, we've got some goals. Short-term pass class, long-term graduate. Oh, okay. Well, those are really exciting goals to be working towards. And then John said, just been sketching combined with journaling, based ideas with process LinkedIn networking. Okay, that's awesome to hear about the art of your journaling and how that's developing. And also LinkedIn networking. That's really cool. You're putting yourself out there. Missing any time bounds, Perry said. Yes, exactly. They're missing time bounds. So when we put time or a time-based restriction, it allows us to keep us on track for what it is that we're working towards. Now, sometimes those need to be extended because as you're doing or trying to meet the goal, you learn new things and your goal gets longer and wider, but we can talk a little bit later for anyone who has goals that meet that category. Lena said, prepping for a job interview tomorrow and need to familiarize with the job's technology and also think of teamwork scenario experiences that might help me out. Ooh, okay. All right. Well, feel free to drop in some of those teamwork scenarios that you are thinking of. Maybe we can sort of crowdsource answers together in the chat. And then, ooh, I do love Perry. That's awesome. You set up a link tree. So cool. You can house all of your portfolio there. Long-term career pivot and figure out what I want to do with my life. Oh my gosh, Lana, that's so exciting. Congratulations on your career pivot, or you're working towards your career pivot. This is an exciting time, and I encourage you to be as curious as you can. That's awesome, though. So more working on values over goals. Chasing the goals is not feeling good, so chasing the priorities, being me and what makes me happy over goals. Oh, that's such a good way to phrase it. Yeah, goals can be, they don't necessarily have to be these like metrics that meet other people's demands for you. They can also be things that make you feel good, you know? They can be like, do you want to go, some of us like to go for a run. Do you want to go for 3 runs a week moving forward? Do you want to paint 3 paintings, by the end of the week? These are things that you can kind of adapt out. So they don't necessarily have to be all around what you can do for others. I encourage you to make goals around what you can do for yourself, and how they can work for you first. Because at the end of the day, you want all of your goals to be working towards you, but those are probably some of the most important ones. So, James, that's such a good point that you call out there. Start building out solutions, ideas, constructing precious metal and currency investing. Ooh, all very exciting starts. List the pros and cons of being an employee or starting a solopreneur career. Ooh. Okay, Cassio, that's a really good. Does anyone have any ideas or first thoughts around what that question? Feel free to engage in the chat. But yeah, so all of these are missing time bound. So we want to add like within the next week, within the next 2 weeks, and then write it down somewhere, having it documented somewhere where we can hold ourselves accountable. And for those of us that once we see something or don't see something in our day-to-day routine, it's outside of our sort of like consistency, our repertoire, what we're able to pull up like sort of on the fly. And so it allows us to really ground in what we want to be working towards if you're able to see it on a day-to-day basis. So I encourage you to like tap it, put it on a post-it note, put it on your fridge, put it somewhere where you're going day to day. I have post-it notes on my mirror in my bathroom. I have them on my window when I wake up first thing in the morning because they just help you remind you of what you're working towards. Because you won't always be job seekers. Eventually you'll be in the roles that you're looking for. You'll be solopreneuring it, Cassio, as your question alluded to. So it's just a time to be curious about what you can really create. That's a short term one for me. I can do this in 1 hour. Take the decision and follow the path is much harder. Haha. That is true. Execution often can be the hardest piece of being a solopreneur, but you're doing it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. All right. So that's a little bit about our SMART method. I want to give a few examples of SMART goals or short-term goals that you might be able to use. So a few examples are by the end, y'all be sure to drop yours in the chat too. We've been getting a few of them, but I want to keep hearing what y'all got going on. By the end of the week, I'll message 3 former colleagues on LinkedIn to check in and share. And these can also be like for fellow students. These can be professors. In fact, I encourage you, if you have strong relationships with professors, to reach out directly to them, ask them if they know of anyone that's hiring for those of us that are job seekers, if anyone that might be able to move our business along. Those are all really good next steps. Within 5 days, I'll identify and message 2 recruiters that have neurodiversity hiring initiatives. So this is more about finding those companies that align with you, which we'll be talking about next Monday. So I hope y'all will join us then. And Cassio, it's a great opportunity too to find clients that align with your brand or that align with your company, and a breakdown on how to do that. So really just taking an approach that's centered around you. Another really good example of a short-term goal is over the next 2 weeks, I'll spend 20 minutes each weekday commenting thoughtfully on posts from people in my target industry. So providing maybe an inspiring story, sharing an inspiring story, sharing something, that you experienced throughout the job, the hiring experience, and maybe how it could have gone better. Towards the end of this call, I'll be asking you all a question about what you wish recruiters would have done for you. And I encourage you all to take that same information that we're sharing in this space to a space like LinkedIn, because you never know who's reading your comments, and maybe it makes all the difference for the next person that they hire that has your neurodiverse traits. And hopefully it's easier for them, because that's all it is. We're all working to make it easier for each other. So another one is this weekend I'll write and practice my 2-minute elevator pitch. We talked about that last week. If you're curious about that, I'd be happy to send you along information. And then by Friday, I'll join one virtual community or Discord group for job seekers, or you'll comment in one Discord community. And these can be as small or as big as you want them to be, but it's all about you. And what feels good for you. Pass all classes by December 13th. Wow. Plan our college now. It's exciting. We're sending you good luck. Responding to posts on LinkedIn is what I did today. Oh, exciting, James. That's awesome. All right. So these are just some examples of what you could be working on towards our time as we're body doubling together. But if you have goals that are outside of these, I encourage you to explore those too. All right. So we got a few goals in the chat, but feel free to continue to drop them in. We're gonna go ahead and do another body doubling session for the next 12 minutes. So I will go ahead and set a timer. For those of you that want to keep your camera on, you're welcome to do so. For those of you that want to turn your camera off, welcome to do that as well. And let's do another 12 minutes, y'all. I'll see you once we're done. And yeah, I'll send along in the chat shortly just a request for goals, and I'll see y'all in 12 minutes. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for another body doubling session. Anyone want to drop in what they were able to complete to the chat, or anything exciting anyone was working on? Exciting is not a good word. Anything exciting, anything anyone was working on, period. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again, and let me know, y'all. A thumbs up should be fine. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, awesome, cool. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. All right, so this was a question that we wanted to ask you all because as neurodivergent folks, and as I sort of started this call out with, we chatted a little bit about how we are working with our partners, Amazon, Microsoft, and Honeywell, to sort of change what has been the outcome for neurodivergent folks in and throughout the hiring system. So that's our sort of long-term goal. But what we want to do is make sure that we're addressing the needs of people who aren't just on our team, the needs of people generally. And so our question to you is, what do you wish employers knew about hiring neurodiverse folks? And if there's anything that, like, via your accommodations, via what like lights you up, the kind of work that you want to be doing, like really anything, we want to make sure that, and if anyone wants to chat too, feel free to come off of mute. But our whole goal is really just to build a system around experiences that are neurodiverse. Oh, okay, so we have goals. I wrote an email. I did not want to. I'm so sorry. One moment. All right. Congratulations on the email that you didn't want to be writing. That's exciting. John said, I have a tour and meeting tomorrow with Taylor Corporation. I'm going to let it be a surprise before something posting. Okay, that's awesome. Congratulations on your meeting. Oh, Perry dropped in something that would be helpful for employers to know. So how well we will do in the workplace isn't necessarily correlated with how well we present ourselves. Ooh, that is a really, really, really good point. And I appreciate you for calling that out, Perry. If there's anything you'd like to elaborate on further, I would love to hear more. Like, do you mean even down to like remote versus in-person work? Like how you appear versus in camera versus like in person? And then Lana
I
said,
I meant present more, not not really how I look, but that's what I'm saying is that the best way to evaluate who I am, whether I'm suited for a job, is to look at what I've done on Wikipedia, on various other technical sites I've contributed to, and that will tell you more about me than what I say in an interview, for instance. Not that I'm against doing interviews, but I feel like the impression I get sometimes is that point is sometimes somewhat lost. Although I think only had 3 interviews and been rejected for 2 of them and not heard back yet for one of them. So
well, fingers keep us posted on the third one. I'm sorry to hear about the two, but yeah, I'd love a status as you're moving along. Okay, that makes sense. Like having your background kind of speak for itself, or be that like the main driver throughout the interview. Is that kind of
that, don't we think I have anything more to say than what I've just written and said? So
okay? Thank you. Thanks, Perry. Okay, Lana said that neurodiversity is way more common than many people think. Oh, you are so right, Lana. Yes, the strengths we have and some of the extra support we may need. Yes, absolutely. And getting those extra supports are directly correlated to our performance in the role. So if really, truly our employers want us to succeed, then those will be things that will be attempted to be met if they, Okay. And then Lana also has a message for Perry. She said, Perry, your productivity or slash results are more important than your interview skills. Yes, 100% they are. They are. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Okay, well, if you think of anything else, I'm going to drop my email in the chat. And if y'all have any ideas at any point for any events or anything you want to see us doing over here at Mentra that we're not doing, feel free to send me along an email at any point. It does take, as I said earlier, we're a smaller team, so it might take some time for me to reply, but I will always get back to you. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Okay.
Sorry, that was my dog. He was eating the bird seed.
Oh my
Don't
gosh,
go to his room.
please.
I didn't mean to yell at all of you. Sorry.
No, never apologize for a puppy. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for blessing us for some puppy time.
Sorry. It's a 100-pound German Shepherd and he knows better. He looked at me immediately and was like, oh my God, and shrunk out of the room.
He was like, oh no. Awesome. Aw, adorable. All right, well, y'all, we're coming up at the end of the hour, and I just want to share with you some roles that we are currently sourcing for, as well as others at Amazon, Microsoft, and Honeywell specifically. But some of those roles are at Amazon and Microsoft as a data center technician. So we have both tactical and non-tactical roles. What I mean by that is roles who might be considered more like blue collar, maybe working with like HVAC systems, keeping the maintenance of the data center. And then there's other roles where you're working on a computer in an operations team in kind of the traditional format that you would, at least I have experienced operations. So that's the data center technician role that we're hiring for Amazon and Microsoft. It's not listed here, but those two. And then Honeywell, we're also hiring for all internships. So across the board, if anyone is interested in those roles, feel free to send me over an email. Again, my email is in the chat. We're happy to support you. And this also goes for roles outside of the ones. We like to just highlight a few, and then we will share sort of throughout the week those profiles once we have everything put together with Honeywell. We got a message. It's like navigating a mirror maze where one door slams unexpectedly while another one opens at the same time and at the same place. That's a really good point. Yeah. It definitely, there's that saying, when one door closes, another opportunity, another door opens. So hopefully, as you go through your job search process or as you look to uncover some of the answers you're using your goal building for, hopefully some of that gets a little bit lighter. So those are the roles that we're sourcing for. That's our session for today, everyone. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Feel free to drop them in chat or come off of mute. But I hope you all have an amazing, amazing Monday. We have another session, like I said, on Thursday, so I hope to see you all again here then as well. But just have an amazing Monday if not. Thanks, everyone.